painful for me. And I said, can I pray for you? And he said, can I come to church? Now, that's brilliant. You know, when you go and see people, normally you ask them to church. They don't ask you to church. You obviously got that the wrong way around, just don't know. And he asked if he could come to church. And then he said to me, I've been praying for 3 months for someone to knock on my door. And in between times, a lot of people had knocked on his door who were the wrong kind of people, but, you know, that's a different story. You know, we have to believe that God sends us at the right time and in the right season. And then, so Sunday morning came, and he was as good as his word, and we hadn't even done his mum's funeral, and he was here on the Sunday morning, and he sat next to Rita during communion, and Rita said, do you want to know Jesus? And he made some steps towards coming to know Jesus, which is absolutely wonderful. And thank you, Rita, for coming this morning. Rita was 50 yesterday. Now we've let the cat out the bag. And there's some stuff planned for her this morning, but she wanted to be here to see Mark baptised. So God bless you, Rita, for coming. And so he took some first steps towards Jesus, but it was a start of a long journey. And John got involved, Andy got involved, many of you got involved, Sue and Dean got involved in, well, that's Andy's part of the story anyway, but suffice it to say, you know, we've been praying for God-given opportunities, and you have to stand with me this morning and believe that there are people like Mark all over Sedgley that are ready to come to faith. And we just need to keep on praying and keep on pressing through, because these people are already, and you know what, sometimes their hearts have already been prepared, not by even our prayers, but by prayers of people who have gone before us. And so we need to understand that. So I'm going to ask Andy come and share his part of the story, and then Mark will come and share his...
Yeah, don't poorly. Morning, everybody. You have to excuse me. I'm not in the best of health today. Not ideally prepared for today, but I wouldn't even know where to begin, really, with my journey with Mark. How do I phrase it? We prayed a lot on Wednesday mornings, as we do. God gave me a few scriptures a few months ago, sorry. And some of those were about the Song of Solomon, about a Waco sleeper. And we prayed around that, and God just reminded me of that this morning. Don't have anything prepared today. It'd be just because of how I'm feeling. But God just reminded me of a Waco sleeper, and we prayed over that a lot. This was all prior to meeting Mark. And then God gave me a verse from Isaiah, and he's reminded me of that this morning. Thank you, Lord. I will go before you and level the mountains. I will break down the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in a secret place, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God who summoned you by name. He is a hidden treasure. To me, he was a hidden treasure. Very quickly, it became very obvious to me. He was what I've been praying for before I met him. He's my brother today, and he'll be my brother forever. Absolutely, he will be, without a doubt. And the journey, whew, what a journey Mark took me on. I've said it before, in that Black Country twang, I've always been a doer and not a door that you open, but actually a doer. I'm one that does things and always, was always able to do everything and take charge and control everything. Oh, gosh, Mark, that was not... and God's took me on a journey of teaching me that isn't the case. I have to give everything to him and trust him and let him take charge, and everything's his. And with Mark, that is undoubtedly where my journey went. I could go through each and every situation, but not even Mark didn't have control over his situation, really. It was out of his control, and it was to the point of death. Mark's life was to the point of death, as we all know. He even tried to take his own life, and I saw him come very close to achieving that in the hospital. It was the fact that God, in that journey there, God has shown me that I can do nothing, but I can do all things through him who gives me strength. You know what I mean? And so actually I've had to leave Mark in his house, knowing he's in that evil situation that Steve talks about, knowing that tomorrow he might not even be alive. He might have many times I've gone there and thought he's going to be dead. He's going to be beaten up. And I've had to still go to bed and try and sleep knowing that. And I've been able to do that because knowing that he's in God's hands, and regardless of that, he's gained salvation and eternal life. Death has lost its sting. So even if the worst happened to him, God forbid, he'd be in heaven, in glory, celebrating and free. You know what I mean? So I gained a huge amount of education about that. A key point for me about Mark, really, is two key points that I would emphasise to you all. First and foremost, never, ever, ever, ever judge a book by its cover. Ever, not for an instant. As you judge, so you will be judged. Do never, ever judge anybody by what they look like or what you perceive them to be like. There's been times I've sat in the car with Mark, having rescued him out the pits of hell, and he's got his hoodie on, he's got his hat, peak cap on, he's got his hoodie up, he's got his bandana across his face. We've been sitting in a car park, and I've said to him, Mark, take your hoodie off. We look like we're doing a drugs deal in a corner of a car park. You know, he looks so shady. It's like, but this guy is nothing like he appears to be. Everybody I met, I said, don't you dare judge this man by what you see. You talk to him and you find out. And everybody's amazed when they talk to Mark. You know what I mean? And we should never judge God. That's why God tells us that. Because we shut ourselves off and we shut the people off. We shut them off to the opportunity of Christ's love in us, flowing through us, and what I've received on the journey, good and bad. You know, you learn so much and you end up with a treasure out of the darkness. So please, you know, God has just echoed that in my mind. The other amazing thing about Mark is his sense of humour. Never, even in the hospital, how does he do it? You know, starts joking on death's door. So, what are you playing at, Mark? You know what I mean? How do you do it? The reasons he did that was he was brought up around Tattyfalarius, which some of you will know, some of you won't, Ken Dodd, and many other comics. He was brought up around them. So he absolutely loves, and it is a real key, it is a real key strength of his, that he can keep things in perspective by that sense of humour. Mark, you are my treasure out of the darkness, and I love you loads, brother. I love you loads. That's my story.
Thank you. I was just making sure my trousers don't fall down. I've got 3 layers on. Oh, there you all are. I don't really know where to start. All as I can say is it's been a pretty remarkable journey from the age of 11 till now. Stuff that I can't talk about, but we're talking horrific stuff that I just can't talk about. Not yet. But it will come out in time. I've made that decision. I want to thank some people, which I usually do at the end, but I've got to be awkward and do it at the beginning. I want to thank Pastor Steve, obviously, Shirley, Custard, John. Thank you for everything that you did for me, and Dean. He's not here, is he? Is Dean here? No. All of you, the love that you've shown me, the feeling is totally mutual, but I've been conditioned all my life not to show feelings. Yeah. I'm used to people judging a book by its cover. If you live a life as a skinhead, as a real skinhead, that means non-racist, non-sexist, and took an oath as I did at 14, people will judge you. And that isn't how they judge you. Well, they got that wrong with me. I came here this morning with a message for somebody who is not allowed in this building. The devil. I hate you. For all that you have done to me, I renounce you. The Lord is my Lord and everybody else is Lord. I love him, he loves me. And my word, if he can love me after the things I've done, then he can love anybody. I'm a Bilston lad. I come from the Rocky Pool, really. 22 years a doorman. 5 years, the last 5 years, I packed it in at 40. When I knew my reflexes and everything didn't quite work as fast as it used to, and now nothing works. Well, not quite everything. Cilla Black says when you get to 70, things wrinkle and drop off. Well, I'm not worried about the first bit of that, but I'm worried about the second bit. Last 5 years of my life, I work for a very wealthy person, is all I'm going to say, and I was his bodyguard, and for which I was paid a lot of money, and which enabled me to say, when I got to 40, I had a pact with myself. I got a lot of offers to work around the country because there was 3 of us and we worked around the country in contracts. And I said, no, that's enough. You don't see any scars on this face. I speak fluent German, useless. No use to me whatsoever, but I do. I studied law, media, politics, quite heavily. I wanted to be a lawyer originally, not stood on a club door, but there you go. A few people inspired me. Keith Green, Jeff Thompson, who was a doorman the same as me, and I've read his book. I don't read many books. I've studied partly criminology, serial killers, morbid, but interests me. And I discovered something after my father died. It's called addictive personality. I researched it, and it really exists. I'm living proof of it. Addictive personality is very difficult to explain. It's a lot more complex than it sounds. At the minute, the addiction is rich tea biscuits, and that sounds funny, but no, it's not. But, you know, I'm trying to put weight back on, carbs and whatever. I used to be obsessed with weight training. Oh, dear me. I'm no farther than a broom handle now, but, you know, I've got clothes at home that where, you know, muscles get sort of a lot. And good looks, well, they went a long while ago. But this last 11 months has been incredible in many ways. From the day Steve come to my door, there was people come to my door, but I don't know who they are. They don't get in anyway. I'm a doorman, and if I say you ain't coming in, you ain't coming in. You know, it's as simple as that. There's no arguing if, ands, and buts. If I say no, it's no. If my next door neighbour comes to that door now, he's not coming through that door. Not on his legs, anyway. So, you know, I learned about addictive personality, and it is quite. My father had it. but not as bad as me. In the 22 years of being a doorman, I was, for pretty much 20 of those years, teetotal. Yeah, Coca-Cola. And now I'm on my 110th day. I've wrote it down here because I've added it up and I'm now good at maths. 110th day dry. Totally dry. Well, coffee, I like coffee, you know. And there is no temptation for alcohol. My medication works very well, very, very well. Now I'm taking it properly, but I wasn't taking it properly, so therefore, you know, I always believe as an alcoholic, you always will be an alcoholic. You never lose that. But I believe you should not look for sympathy because nobody forced you to pour that drink in your mouth. Nobody. Absolutely nobody but me. And I've always took responsibility for my actions totally, you know. Absolutely, totally. Justice will come forward in the end. When I look at myself in the mirror, I see 22 years of abuse and 22 years of neglect and different other things that have happened. But now I see I'm so full of the love of God. I'm pumped up, actually. Like when I used to be on the club doors, I was pumped up. You know, I had a job to do with a high risk factor. And, you know, I knew what I was doing. If somebody comes up to you and says to you, I'll pay you £1,000 a night, then you know you're good, you know, and I was good, you know, very good. But my dream was always, as I say, to be a lawyer. I'm fascinated by the law. I'm going to have a sit down now before my trousers fall down. Hello, Steve. I didn't see you sneaking. You come in the back door. No, I don't want anybody to fall to sleep. The love that I have for you is the same as the love that you have for me. And there are thousands of people out there like me. Let's go and drag them all in. Yeah?
It's all right. Keep your trousers on. Yeah. Amazing. You know, you hear people give testimony at baptismals, but it's great when they say, you know, they're full of the love of Jesus, you know, and what Jesus has done for them. It's not about coming to church, it's about coming to faith in a living Christ, isn't it? Amen.